New releases in film noir and neo-noir, we've got them right here at Journeys in Darkness and Light. I'm Andy Wolverton, and today I'm taking a look at the new releases on Blu-ray for August 2022, and it's an unusual month. So let's get started. We kick off the month of August on August the 1st with a release that was delayed from last month. Get Carter from 1971 in 2 editions, 4K and Blu-ray. Please see last month's video for all the details. We continue on August the 8th with a neat little British noir thriller called The Flyingscot, also known as The Mailbag Robbery from 1957. This one comes to us from Studio Canal in the UK, and this is a Region B release. Tired of small-time crime, 4 criminals decide to rob a passenger train called the Flyingscot, which transports large amounts of money from the Bank of Scotland to London. More thriller than noir, the Flyingscot borrows elements from both Rififi from 1955 and The Narrow Margin from 1952. And while the Flyingscot is not as good as those films, it does contain some nice tension throughout. The disc is struck from a new restoration of the film and features an alternate opening sequence, a new interview with writer-journalist Barry Forshaw, and a featurette called The Flyingscot and the History of the British B-Movie, with Professor of British Cinema Steve Shipnall. Next, a movie I saw when it was first released in theaters in 1973, a long time ago. I was too young to really understand everything that was going on in it, but I've never forgotten Electroglide in Blue from 1973. This one's coming to us on August the 16th from Kino Lorber. Electroglide in Blue is the only film director James William Guercio ever directed. If Guercio's name sounds familiar, it's probably because he was the manager of the band Chicago for the group's first 11 albums. In fact, you can spot many of the band's members in the film. Yet, Electroglide in Blue isn't about musicians, but cops, particularly Arizona motorcycle cops, and specifically Big John, played by Robert Blake, who's a Vietnam vet and, despite his name, the shortest cop on the force. But when Big John helps solve a murder case, he's on his way up the ladder to promotion. Or is he? Electroglide in Blue serves as a larger look at an America still trying to make sense of the Vietnam War. The film also stars Billy Greenbush, Mitchell Ryan, Elisha Cook Jr., and Royal Dano. Now, you may own the Shout Factory Blu-ray from 2013, but know that this new Kino release is struck from a brand new 4K restoration of the film with a new audio commentary by screenwriter Robert Boris, moderated by film historian Alex Van Dyne, a new interview with actor Mitchell Ryan, and an interview with Robert Boris. The extras from the Shout Factory disc, an introduction by and a commentary with Guercio, are also included. If you're on the fence about this one, it's currently streaming on Amazon Prime, so give it a test drive. Here's one many folks have been waiting for a long time. Red Rock West from 1993, directed by John Dahl. This is a Region B Blu-ray coming to us on August the 22nd from Plan B Entertainment, a partner label of the UK company Signal One. Nicolas Cage plays Michael Williams, a guy that's out of work and flat broke, who pulls into a bar in Red Rock, Wyoming. Immediately, the bar owner, Wayne, played by J.T. Walsh, swears Michael is the hitman he's hired to kill his wife Suzanne, played by Laura Flynn Boyle. Needing the money, Michael plays along, takes Wayne's money, and is ready to skip town when, to his surprise, the real hitman, played by Dennis Hopper, shows up. Now, I had never seen this, but from what I understand, Red Rock West has enough twists and turns to make you think you've been turned into a corkscrew. Now, since this has been available on a German Blu-ray for a few years and one from Spain since June, you have other opportunities to see this. Will we see a North American release at some point? I'm sure we will, but let me tell you about the extras on this disc. 3 new interviews with director John Dahl, editor Scott Chestnut, and actor Dale Gibson. An audio commentary with director John Dahl, a video essay with film critic Mark Searby, a featurette called Caged In with host Petros Patsilivas talking about Nicolas Cage's performance, a stills gallery, a poster, and an illustrated booklet by Ian Schultz. Now, this one does not appear to be a restoration, but simply a high-definition transfer. So that makes me a bit skeptical. I'm going to wait for a North American release myself, but if you do pick this one up, let me know what you think. The Australian label Imprint, part of Via Vision, comes out with a 3rd Essential Film Noir collection on August 31st. Now, there's plenty of good news here, but potentially some bad news. First, let's kick this collection off with The Strange Love of Martha Ivers from 1946. Nearly 2 decades after the death of her rich aunt, Martha Ivers, played by Barbara Stanwyck, has married District Attorney Walter O'Neill, played by Kirk Douglas in his very first role. Martha doesn't love Walter. The marriage is really one of convenience. Martha's former friend Sam, played by Van Heflin, drifts into town, meets a sultry woman named Tony, played by Elizabeth Scott, who's on parole. Sam tries to convince Martha to use her influence to keep Tony out of the joint. There's some nice film noir elements that tiptoe along that thin line separating noir from melodrama, but the cast is out of sight. Although uncredited, Byron Haskin directed at least part of the film since Louis Milestone was away for a considerable time, adding his support to a set decorator strike. Now, let's take a look at the extras. We've got an audio commentary from Alan K. Rode, an introduction with Kirk Douglas and Alan K. Rode, a 50-minute documentary called Barbara Stanwyck, Straight Down the Line, a new video essay on Stanwyck by Kat Ellinger, a new interview with Alan K. Rode on Barbara Stanwyck, and a trailer. Now, this Imprint disc is a, quote, 1080 high-definition presentation. In fact, none of the titles in this collection claim to be 2K or 4K restorations, but high definition. That's at least going to make me hesitant to pick this one up, especially if another company might foot the bill for restorations for these films. In fact, a 4K restoration is coming in September from Kino Lorber with the audio commentary from Alan K. Rode. But the selling point for these Imprint releases is the extra features, which sound really good. So you may want to wait on the Kino version of The Strange Love of Martha Ivers, since that one is a true restoration. Next, one of my favorite overlooked Barbara Stanwyck movies, No Man of Her Own from 1950, directed by Mitchell Leisen. Not to be confused with the 1932 movie of the same name with Clark Gable and Carole Lombard. Stanwyck plays Helen Ferguson, a woman in trouble. Helen's trying to get her low-life boyfriend, Steve, played by Lyle Betker, to take her in since she's pregnant and has nowhere else to go. Steve couldn't care less. He's moved on to other things and another woman, but is gracious enough to slip Helen a train ticket to San Francisco along with $5. What a jerk. On the train, Helen meets Patrice, played by Phyllis Thaxter, a young woman who's also pregnant. Patrice and her husband Hugh are traveling to meet Hugh's parents, who have never met Patrice. You see where this is going. While Patrice allows Helen to try on her wedding ring, disaster strikes. The train derails and kills both Hugh and Patrice. In the aftermath, the authorities mistake Helen for Patrice. And does Helen tell them the truth? Again, you may know where this is going, but maybe not. No Man of Her Own is filled with mystery, suspense, and a strong sense of film noir. Now, when I first saw this film at a Noir City Festival in DC in 2015, Foster Hirsch, who introduced the film, lamented the fact that no 35mm print exists. That screening was from the Olive Films DVD. So unless a print was discovered, this is definitely not a restoration. Extras include a new audio commentary with film historian Drew Casper, a new interview with writer and journalist Barry Forshaw, and a new video essay on Mitchell Lyson by Kat Ellinger, plus a Screen Director's Playhouse radio drama of No Man of Her Own, starring Stanwyck and Lyle Betker. I'll also link to my full review for the Remembering Barbara Stanwyck blogathon from a few years ago. Next, The Turning Point from 1952, directed by William Dieterle. New District Attorney John Conroy is young, eager, and determined to wipe out crime, starting with the city's most powerful syndicate run by Neil Eichelberger. Conroy even appoints his dad, a cop, to be part of the task force. But Conroy's reporter friend, Jerry McKibben, discovers that Conroy's dad has ties to the syndicate. That could make for an awkward Thanksgiving. The Turning Point is solid noir entertainment thanks mostly to a good cast, including two of my favorite actors, Edmund O'Brien and William Holden, both of whom play to their strengths here. O'Brien as the idealistic crusader who has more determination than experience, and Holden who always provides the wisecracking voice of worldly realism. Alexis Smith serves mainly to present an opportunity to further divide the two leads. And whether he's playing a hero or a heel, Ed Begley is always worth watching. The Turning Point also features the uncredited film debut of Carolyn Jones. I'll list the extras on this in the description. Closing out the set, we have a 1955 film from William Wyler, The Desperate Hours, one of my favorite home invasion pictures, starring Humphrey Bogart as Glenn Griffin, the leader of a trio of escaped convicts who hold the Hilliard family, including Frederick March and Martha Scott, hostage until Griffin's woman can arrive to help them make their getaway. It's Bogart's penultimate movie and one I really like. Last month, I talked about the lackluster 1990 remake of this film, but this is the real deal, one of the best home invasion movies you'll find from the 1950s. I'll link to my full review of the film from last year, but know that this disc includes a new audio commentary with film historian Kevin Lyons and a new interview with Barry Forshaw. Now, that's it for the Essential Film Noir Volume 3 box set, but also coming from Imprint, also on August the 31st, we have The Scarlet Hour from 1956, directed by Michael Curtiz. The Scarlet Hour is one of Curtiz's least remembered films, partly because it features no big-name stars in leading roles, but it's very much worth discovering. E.V. Marshall, played by Thomas Tryon, works for real estate developer Ralph Nevins, played by James Gregory, but Marsh is really interested in Nevins' wife Pauline, played by Carol Omart, and Pauline feels the same way about Marsh. So much so that they plan to skip town together, but they need money. When the couple overhears thieves plotting a jewelry heist of a local physician, Pauline comes up with a plan, but we know how such plans go in film noir. Will there be a murder? A betrayal? Maybe both. I saw this film at a Noir City Festival a few years ago and am eager to pick this one up. This one has a new audio commentary by Alan K. Rohde, who wrote a fantastic book on Michael Curtiz, so this will be worth it for the commentary alone. Like the Essential Noir set that we talked about just a moment ago, this does not appear to be a new restoration, and it is a Region B release. And that's going to do it for August. There's lots of stuff for the Region B folks and the Region Free folks. Release dates often change, and if they do, I'll be sure to update you. If I've missed anything, please let me know. In the meantime, everybody take care, stay safe, and watch some great film noir.